Hi, we're going to do some projects with your new Ebony pencil and blending stump and plastic eraser. So hopefully you have one of these, and looks like I dropped my blending stump. Yeah, there we go. One of these guys. Yeah. And a plastic eraser. So yeah, sorry, I have a cut on my thumb. I thought it would be less icky to look at by having a band-aid on it. So let's get started on some blending. Okay, we're back. So the first thing I want you to do is, hopefully your pencil is sharpened, and just make a bunch of lines and squiggles and see what it can do. Think about maybe not holding your pencil up real close. Let's hold it back a little bit. It gives you a little bit more freedom of movement, and you might do a little better. Okay? It's a little more relaxing. So let's just see what this pencil can do. So let's right now just make some really light lines. It can be squiggles, it can be straight. Make the lightest lines you can. You can even do some of that. Okay? Now let's try to make some of the darkest lines you can make. So let's press down really hard. Let's see what we can do. And now try to do something kind of in between, like medium. So that's what I want you to do, is just make some lines. Practice pushing down and going light, almost invisible. You can like cover your paper with light and dark patches if you want. You can cross hatch, that means you go back and forth like this. Just kind of play with this pencil and see what all you can do with it. It's pretty versatile. Okay, let me grab some clean paper here, and let's do a couple of geometric shapes. And I'll talk about some things that we can do with this pencil. So it's kind of fun to take something that's flat and make it three-dimensional. So let's start with a circle. I think that's pretty easy. So just take your pencil and very lightly, you can go around a couple times, make a circle. So right now it just looks like a flat circle or a ring on a piece of paper. But how can we make this look three-dimensional? Well, we can with our Ebony pencil and all our other tools here. So first thing you do whenever you want something to look three-dimensional is you identify the light source. So it's pretty easy to see on here. We've got real bright light coming in here, and it's a little bit darker over here. So what we want to do is take your pencil and figure out where the light's coming from. I'm going to just make an arrow so you can see it. You don't have to put the arrow in, I'm just doing it for the video. And then right at the top of there, draw a little circle. Right now we have something that looks kind of like an olive. So what we're going to do to represent the brightest part of this object is we're going to use the white of the paper in our favor. You can see that I already smudged it with my fingers. Oh, I have graphite all over my hands. Alright, so what we're going to do is now we're going to look at the darkest part, and we're going to trace that line by putting a lot of pressure on this pencil. And you can go back and forth a couple times. We want this to be really dark. This is kind of more like an egg shape than a circle, but that's okay. So do that. Make that really dark. And now let's play around with this blending stump and see what it does. So let's kind of follow that circle around, and you'll notice that this gets kind of dirty with graphite, but that's okay. We'll use that to draw the rest of our outline. and it's much softer than a pencil line. Alright, so now let's very carefully brush this, and let's follow the contours of the circle as we do it, because your drawing will come out better if you do that. And don't worry if it's kind of messy, it'll get straightened out. But don't do any shading inside of this little circle. Because we want that to be the lightest part. It's already starting to look a little bit three-dimensional. And you can adjust this as much as you want. You can make it really, really, really exact, or if you're like me, you can go a little loose. Okay, so now I'm going to erase out that part of that little circle. And let's see if I can get all those smudges out of there. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to erase that line as well. See that? And I could take my eraser and I can sharpen up the edges, give it a little more definition. So I usually completely erase out a line to kind of show where the light's coming from, because a line can often be suggested. It doesn't have to be solid. You can just kind of know it's there. All right, now for me, that's a little bit on the light side, so I'm gonna shade this back in a little bit, and I'm gonna follow that contour like I said before. And you can decide as you go. Sometimes I don't like that line in there, sometimes I do. So there, now our ring has turned more into a sphere, or a ball, or a planet, or whatever you want it to be. Now, if you want to make it look like it is like sitting on the ground, you can put a horizon line in. You can make it here, or anywhere above or through. Okay? If you make your horizon line down here, look at the difference. I'm going to erase these other lines. Now it looks like it's floating, and that's fine. You can make it look like it's floating, but for now, let's put it on a table. I'm going to use my blending stump to draw the table in. Voila. Now, I'm also going to use my blending stump to put the shadow in, because this ball isn't going to be sitting here with this light shining on it and without a dark part, so we're going to put the dark part in. So, you follow the contours of the ball, only make it more elongated. That's called an ellipse. It's kind of like an oval, because the light is going to make that shape, kind of. This can be a lot more complicated. We're going to simplify this a little bit. Okay, so let's draw that in. I can hear my dog scratching at the door behind me. I think she needs a walk. Okay, so you can make that light or dark. If you want to make it darker, you can. I kind of like to make things dark, so that's kind of what I like to do, but everybody's different. Okay, so see what you can do with that. Just draw some circles, do a little shading. You can either just use the pencil to do the shading. You can smudge it with your finger, but then you always have dirty fingers like me if you do that. So use your pencil and your blending stump and your eraser as tools. to draw with. Those are the only things I take with me when I take my sketchbook wherever I go, whether it could be for a ride or for a walk or just sitting somewhere quietly. Gives me something fun to do. Okay, let's try a different shape. Let's try getting a new piece of paper. Let's try a cube. Most of you know how to do that, but we're going to do it again. Square, overlapping square, connect the corners. Keep in mind these all are going to be parallel lines. Parallel means they're going the same direction. So this is going to line up with that, and these are going to line up with that, and this is going to line up with all the rest of them. That's the way you know you've done it right. So here's your light source. All right, let's say that we want this to look like a solid cube. What would be the darkest part on this? Probably here. So let's shade this one in kind of medium dark, because light would certainly not be hitting it. Okay, I might use my blending stump to kind of make that look better. And you can refine yours more. I'm kind of speeding along so that this video doesn't take forever. All right, so now that's in the dark. This is starting to look more dimensional. How about this? The light's coming in this way. This is going to be the darkest part. So press down good and hard on that pencil. Look at that lovely, lovely dark. I just love Ebony pencils. They do the job right. So look at that. Now we have something that looks like an open box. But I don't think I want to make it open. I'm going to make it close like a solid cube. Okay, and we've got the light coming in here, so maybe we want to lighten up this line a little bit. And maybe just take the blending stump and just give it a little touch. Not much. And there, you kind of got your cube. So again, you can take your eraser, clean it up a little bit if you want. Alright, let's say that I've decided that I want this box to look like it's open. In that case, I put this line back in and think about where the light's coming from. If this is dark, that's going to be dark. So we're going to color that all in dark. And maybe lighten this up a little bit where the light would actually be hitting it. And now you have an open box. Now, what about a horizon line? We could have it floating in the air like a big box kite, put strings on it. Or we could have it sitting on a table or on the sidewalk or whatever. And in that case, it's going to cast a shadow. So we want to think about which way that shadow would go. And you can make that light or dark or however you want. And you can leave it as it is, or you can use your blending stump. So there you go. That'll give you some things to work on. Hope you have some fun with that, and do get used to those Ebony pencils because we are going to use them for other projects down the road. And the more practice you get with it, the better your projects are going to be. And that's it. I have a few seconds to say goodbye. See you next time.